Hello, welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach. With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Heyo! It's been quite the week.
Has been quite the week. Still in recovery from that is Vinleme Miss.
I just want to let you know I'm a little bit. I arrived a bit late because I went to the hardware store to pick up a few things.
Okay. We did not need to know this. Matt, erase that from your memory, please.
Yeah. I'll
Thank
totally
you.
forget.
All right, bam. We men in blacked it. That flash thing gone. It's in other minds.
I won't question that dentist chair in your basement.
Today we're going to be discussing Mother of Monsters by Paula D. Ashe, who her collection We Are Here to Hurt Each Other?
Yes.
That is such a great collection.
I'm gonna finish this collection like this weekend for sure. It's amazing.
I read it when it first came out, and it's so hard to put down, and the stories are so visceral and so disturbing.
Yes.
Like, they really get under your skin sometimes.
Yep.
Like, what was that one with the giant teeth, the giant monster with all the teeth?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Like,
God.
oh, fuck.
That's the first. I think that's the first one. Yeah. After I finished the Mother of all Monsters, I went back to the first one and I started this one. And I'm like, wait, what? With what teeth?
No teeth.
And it was like late at night. I was like, I'm gonna pause this so I can go to sleep because I don't want to dream about teeth. That's the worst kind of dreams.
They are very strange.
Yeah.
And this collection, like, I'm happy this collection did so well when it came out, but
Yeah.
it's because like it's also put up by Nicotinating Books, who are also a friend of the podcast,
Yes.
and like they put out some really good stuff.
They do.
I'm happy that this was able to get the traction it got, and we're going to be breaking this down in a bit. But before we do that, we can go through our media recommendations, which we had to get 2 weeks of media consumption.
Yeah.
So let's kind of keep it to
Keep it tight.
keep it tight.
Oink.
Keep it tight. So I'll start. I saw one of the movies that I've been waiting months and months and months to see, which is Late Night with the Devil.
Did you? All right.
I did.
Damn.
and-
How was it? I'm gonna steal it probably because of the whole AI thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. It's an awesome movie. And I would have probably given it a 5 out of 5 if it didn't use the AI generated images.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, regardless of the AI generated images, like I'm typing up a review about this that I have a lot of thoughts. But when they made this movie, they made this movie back in 2022.
Yeah.
And the discussion around AI and AI generated images was a lot different when they were making this movie than it is today.
It wasn't as loud.
It wasn't as loud.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, I feel so there's like, this is a weird argument to make because it like can also be counteracted pretty easily. But like I think with something like the editor or the director using AI images in the movie is gross, and I don't like it at all. I also feel by like boycotting it or doing those things, we're also harming the work that's done by the actors.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
And like David Dauschman, best performance of his career so far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I just in Suicide Squad, I immediately liked him.
Yeah,
he was
he's
so fascinating. He was so charming, and I was like, this guy, he's gonna go somewhere.
This is the best performance of his career so far. And so to have it mixed with this AI stuff really hurts me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, it's so fucking good. And
I know.
This one thing just takes so much away from it. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, like, just pay a guy on Fiverr. Just go on Fiverr and pay a guy.
Right.
Like, that's all you had to do.
I saw so many great depictions of this, what they wanted from different artists on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they were like, just pay me $50 and a credit and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And like,
Well,
it wasn't even...
What's funny is like if you're because this is what set in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guarantee they didn't have AI in the 70s. So
Right.
if you're doing this TV late night show, they had artists back then, and let's do that now.
But you know what I think might have caused the AI thing to be in the movie as well? Because the directors did confirm that AI was used to generate the 3 images in the movie, which in the grand scheme of things are only on the camera for a few seconds. But one of them is very noticeably AI.
Yeah.
The skeleton one it's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie's interesting where it's one of those movies that has like 12 different production and distribution companies behind it.
Oh.
It's like you're sitting in a movie and it's like production credit or like distribution credit, production credit, production credit. This has like 8 to 10 of those.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like production credits behind this movie. So part of me, like honestly, I probably could have taken a bathroom break and gotten back and the logos would still have been going, to be all honest with you.
Oh God.
But part of me feels that because AI has been investing heavily in Hollywood, that maybe one of these production companies had a tie-in with that investment, which also led to why it could have been used in the movie.
Yeah.
Because like once it becomes contract related, there's not that much you can really do even as the creative person.
Yeah. And I mean, especially like, I don't know, just for the fact that, like you said, they're barely on screen. It's only 3 images. It's such like a silly thing to use AI for.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like it could have been that, like a contract with a production company, like you have to use because I'm invested in a AI company, so you gotta use the company that I'm invested in, and like this is just speculation. Like I can't confirm or deny any of this, but like if that is the case, I would still criticize use of AI, but I would be a little bit more forgiving if it's like something they had to do. Yeah.
Per contract. But one more thing about me and the AI, and then I'll move on to the actual movie, is I hate how AI has taken over the discussion of this movie too. It sucks.
Yeah.
But one last thing about the AI use of this movie too is as film enjoyers, because I love movies. Vitlame, I know you love movies.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I know you hate movies, but that's okay.
I hate those moving pictures. Feels too much like real life.
It's those talkies. The talkies ruin everything.
Give me my pictures that don't move.
Give me my silent films.
That was real art.
But with everything that happened with the strikes last year in Hollywood, and like with AI companies investing in Hollywood, we are going to be seeing more of these pop up in movies.
Oh yeah.
And in TV shows. Like if you think the intro credits to Secret Invasion were bad, or the AI art in Late Night of the Devil was bad, I guarantee you it's probably going to get worse.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes in the future. But that being said, Late Night of the Devil is so fucking good. It's such a genuinely good movie with one of David Dasherman's best performances. My only criticism is it has one really bad special effect.
That's fair.
But like they also tie in one of my favorite kind of like secret society cult type things into this movie in the very beginning, which is a Bohemian Grove. And like the way they work that into the movie is so good. And the tension they use and the suspense is really good. Because like in the movie, what happens too is like it plays out like you're watching an episode of a talk show.
Yeah.
And he'll look in the camera and be like, "We'll be right back." And then instantly the aspect ratio changes and the color changes to black and white and it becomes behind the scenes footage. And you see his expression go from like happy-go-lucky late night talk show host to like dude in the middle of having an anxiety attack. And like all the stress that's going on around him. And then when the cameras go back on, the instant shift to that carefree like late night talk show host is like pitch perfect.
Now, and don't spoil it if when I ask this question, are they doing it kind of like a Blair Witch where the intro is kind of like a we found this video or whatever, or is it just start right in? Now, if that spoils it, don't answer, but just wondering.
Spoil it. So it opens up, not so much we found this video, it opens up like a documentary.
Okay.
So the beginning of it is a documentary about the talk show host.
Okay.
And it's kind of exposition, but like you learn about him, you learn about his connection to the Grove, you learn about this weird connection between the Grove and the satanic cult that ritualously sacrificed children called the Son of Abraxam. And then they say, like the last episode of the show was the Halloween night of 1977, and that they found the master tape and they found the behind the scenes tapes and they've edited them together to show us the full picture of what happened on the show in 1977.
Cool. Okay, I like that. That's good.
And then the rest of it's just the show. Like it. Also, I will say the documentary part, Michael Ironside does the voiceover for it.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
And then the show itself, this is again the spoiler. The show itself is he comes on, he introduces his guests. His first guest is a psychic named Christu, no last name, just Christu, and he can communicate with the dead. The second guest is a
Oh wait, don't spoil it.
So this isn't a spoiler. The second guest is a guy who like debunks hauntings.
Okay.
And used to be a magician. And then the third guest is the child that is possessed by a devil.
Nice.
And the show kind of plays out as it goes along. And the third act is a fucking ride.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I loved it. Anyway, Matt, what about you?
Yeah. So for me, because it's been 2 weeks, I'll just blast through. I mean, I'll do this first one, but it'll be really short. I read Yoko Ogawa's The Memory Police, which I've been slowly going.
I wanted to read that. I've heard good things about it.
It's awesome. I've been going slowly through Yoko Ogawa's stuff. For our listeners, you're probably really familiar with Revenge, which is like a short story collection that they're all stories are interconnected and it's all kind of spooky stuff. This one, I think, came over here in 2019, and it is anyway. It's awesome. It's about this unnamed island, and the people on this island are their memory, like they lose memories of certain things, and these are just wacky things. So like they forget what hats are, and they forget what ribbons are, or birds, or roses. And then it slowly kind of keeps going for that. And on the island, there's also these memory police that kind of enforce this thing. So you might forget what a hat is, but it doesn't say the hat just disappears. It just disappears from your memory. The thing still exists. And there are people on the island who don't forget. So they know what a hat is and they know what all these things are. And so the memory police are kind of there to enforce this happening. And the memory loss just happens overnight. You wake up and you feel like we're missing something, and then you start realizing what that thing is that you are no longer remembering. And So that's kind of the gist of the island. We are following a writer, and so she all she does on this island is write stories, and her novels are big and famous and everything like that. And her editor also lives in an island, and this doesn't spoil anything. Her editor isn't somebody who forgets. So her editor is somebody who remembers everything. And so this writer has to hide him and hides him in her house. And then it just things happen from there. It's great. Like the way Ogawa does the memory loss thing is just fascinating, like for you as the reader, because like some points you kind of get descriptions of what these things are that they're forgetting, and at other points the characters are just like, I see a creature with feathers and a beak, but I have no idea what this thing is. And so you're always kind of just off kilter a little bit. And so that's just really awesome. There's a lot of really great imagery in this. There's a scene with rose petals all in this river, and it's a beautiful scene, but you're also like, they don't know what these things are anymore. And as you go, it's sort of a mystery of trying to figure out like why this is happening, who's doing like how is this happening. It's just this collective thing that they all like, we forget. And then our editor, who doesn't forget, is his whole focus is like trying to get the writer to remember. And I'm saying writer and editor because there's really no names in this book. It's all just the writer and editor and old man and memory police. So like you don't really get names. It's all, again, just maybe they lost what names were. We don't know because we're kind of in the middle of this. And so that's kind of this whole story. It's just this really weird mind meld thing. And there's some intercut story of what this writer is working on. And those like sort of tie to what the story is, but it's also just kind of about grief, and those are a little bit more haunting. So like this isn't a full horror kind of thing or anything like Revenge. This is just more of a sci-fi kind of fantasy idea of what people forget and how that loss and what you do with forgetting things. But the interconnected story in this is a little bit more scarier because a character kidnaps a woman and keeps her in a clock attic and basically tells her she has no voice, and then she slowly loses like everything. And so that gets a little more disturbing as you go along in the story. But yeah, the memory it's awesome. And by the way it goes to the end, so like I'll cover that too, is they're making a movie of this. Charlie Kaufman is writing the movie for this, and Lily Gladstone's in it. And I kept like, as I was reading this, I was like, because if you've seen Charlie Kaufman stuff, his things are always a little weird and wacky. And I kept trying to think, I'm like, what got him to want to write this? Because besides the memory loss thing, it's a pretty straight kind of forward story of like people dealing with this on this island and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end and what happens, and I was like, okay, totally makes sense why Charlie Kaufman is doing this. I won't spoil it, but it fits with his kind of mindset. And I'm already picturing like how they're going to do this, because it's fascinating, like what they lose and how they handle this. And like, if your job, they talk again at the beginning of the story, they talk about like, there was the neighbor across the street who used to make hats, and now they have to go and do something else. Or the old man used to drive the ferry, but one of the early memories they lost were boats. So they don't know what a boat is. So then he can't ferry people because they don't know what that machine is. And so it's just, so I don't know when the movie's coming out, but I think it's going to be really fascinating when it does, just to see. But definitely Memory Police, Yoko Ogawa. You'll love it.
That sounds awesome. I've been meaning to read that book for a while.
It's great. I loved it. I was like enthralled and just like couldn't stop, because she does there's such a good way of her showing you this in like how it progresses and like what's happening, and it deals with a lot of like deep stuff, because it's like you're hiding somebody away in like a crawl space while the police are trying to find them. And so there's a lot of like that idea, that concept, and how does that work and what that life is like. And yeah, it's super great.
That sounds really cool. Vitlame, what about you?
I started watching yesterday on Netflix the documentary series The Program.
Oh, I watched it a couple weeks ago. That shit is insane.
It's insane. Like
it's insane.
Holy fuck.
I can't believe those places are legal.
I know, right?
How far did you make it?
I'm on. There are like 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm almost done with the second episode.
I love the riot at the end of episode 1.
Yes. Oh my god, it was so good. I got chills when they started like, oh yeah, and then I yelled, riot! I just got chills. I'm like, yeah, I can picture it immediately.
Then you see the security footage of it too?
I did, yeah.
And all the kids just running down the fucking like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's like, and also it's funny, like when they was like, I thought they were gonna be like following me, but they went straight for the kitchen, and the girl was like, why did they do that? And he just looks at her like, because we were fucking hungry. And I was like, yep, that makes sense too. Poor things.
Yeah, no, like
they didn't get any food.
I will say those places still exist in America to this day.
I know, and they're like called wilderness camp or something like that.
Yeah, there's a bunch in Utah.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Like,
what the fuck is up with Utah?
The Utah state government makes hundreds of $1 million a year off of these programs.
I'm telling you, it doesn't have to do with the Mormons. I'm like, there's always some kind of connection there. I hate saying this, and I hate maybe generalizing this, and I'm sorry if I'm offending any Mormons, but guys, what the fuck? It always seems to be theirs. Like, if it isn't this, then it's the multi-level marketing and everything. Yeah.
But no, like, that documentary is so wild. The one part that made me super sad is that woman who, like, did you get the part where like they made all the kids confess to like a bunch of shit they never did?
Yeah.
And then like so she like had to confess about all the drugs she took and that she was a crack whore and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then like she found her negative drug test.
Yep.
And gave it to her parents to show like the program was lying and everything. Yeah. And the parents still believe the program.
I know.
And that's how deep that brainwashing goes into people.
I know.
It's so fucked up.
Like they said in the docuseries, it wasn't about the kids, it was about the parents and their money.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just like, I don't even have kids, and I don't plan on, but I still have a heart, you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm a human. I have emotions. And just seeing a parent do this, abandoning their child like this, it just makes me think like, you have no fucking right to procreate.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to snip your balls right now.
Mandatory vasectomy. Let's go.
Yes. Seriously, it's like, why? Like, why? Because you couldn't parent them? That's on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And also listen to them. Like the girl, the Catherine, she was put there because her fucking stepmom was awful to her.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, she was probably awful to her stepmom, but what teenage girl isn't awful to their step-parent?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, not generalizing teenage girls. I'm just saying.
No, but it is like that. Having a blended family is fucking complicated, and then you should always take the steps to, if you want to make it work, then you have to make it work.
And when you're a teenager, like, the parents need to be the one wants to make it work, because the teenager is going to be antagonistic towards it the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it was heavy, and I definitely plan on probably finishing it tonight.
It's worth finishing.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish it. But it's like I said, it's heavy. You're gonna feel really fucking angry, and I don't have my punching bag here, so, and I don't want to ruin my fucking cushions.
I'm gonna be kind of quick. We can do a quick round, and then we'll go into the story. To go off of your documentary, Vitlame, I saw Quiet on the Set last week.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm planning on watching that too because oh boy.
That's a hard one to get through. Like,
Yep.
and I knew it was bad, and I knew Dan Schneider was bad, and I remember seeing because I grew up on Nickelodeon by the time like iCarly and Zoe 101 were like on Nickelodeon. Like for me, Nickelodeon was like all that and Keaton and Kel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like when it got weird, that was when I wasn't watching it anymore, you know? But like seeing those clips, God, that's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, why are you making kids do this?
Yeah.
Like, and then there's one big revelation that gets dropped in the documentary too, where like someone who was working on Dan this was known. This was a secret thing. Someone who was working on Dan Schneider's sets was arrested for child sexual assault.
Jeez.
And the person he assaulted's revealed in the documentary.
Oh my God.
And they kept it a secret for a very long time.
Oh
and
God.
Then it was revealed. It's revealed to be Drake Bell.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that name
And then like
on Twitter.
And then like that revelation with having that happen to Drake Bell, like everything about Drake Bell makes so much more sense. Like it's so fucked up, and I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And Hollywood is such a fucked up place.
Yeah.
I will say though, a couple of parents are doing the right thing in that documentary. So you'll kind of see when you see it. But just know you're gonna be angry. Have like a punching pillow or something because you're gonna need it. And then I'll pass off to you guys in 1 second. I'll just say I also started watching Three Body Problem on Netflix.
Nice.
Cool.
Which I've only seen the first episode so far, but I love the books. And if you want some like heady sci-fi thriller stuff that I probably compared to Arrival with a little bit more of a thriller edge to it, I'd recommend Three Body Problem. So far, my only criticism is Benedict Wong should not have bangs. Bangs are a very bad look on Benedict Wong. Just gonna put that out there. But if you guys have any more real quick, we can go and then dive into Mother of Monsters.
Yeah, real quick. Kelly Link's White Cat, Black Dog. I read that this weekend, and it's excellent collection of her short stories, and they're all kind of fairy tale-esque, and there's some scary stuff in there, but just absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, it's Kelly Link, of course, but just it's a great collection. I know she's got a new one out, but this was, I think, her last one before this new one. And it's awesome. And just be careful if there's a story in here, The Girl Who Fears Nothing, I believe it's called. And if you're in an airport and you're reading that story, more than likely your flight will be canceled because that's what happens in the story. And I was reading it and my flight was canceled at the same time. It was a very like surreal moment. So just if you ever question if words have power, that is exactly what happened. And I blame reading that story. So that's it for me.
You have anything else for it, LeMay?
No, I'm good at the moment.
All right, so let's dive into Mother of Monsters by Paula D. Ashe.
Yeah.
AKA when you discover your good child is not such a good person.
Nope.
And maybe you yourself aren't such a good person.
Nope.
You can't help but kind of know what's gonna happen as you read the story.
True.
But that like reveal of the behind the camera and the past of what happened, that was the one I was like, oh crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do love the fact that this starts with like, this is a letter to the sister. I thought that was really what really drew me into the story. I'm like, oh, this is a confession? Oh, what did you do?
Yeah.
And then as you go further, you're like, no, please, I don't want to know more. No, please, I'm good. Please stop.
Yeah.
Was it the milk teeth or the bloody panties that got you first?
milk teeth.
Yeah, that was messed up.
That was so fucking messed up. I was like, no, why did you do that?
So for listeners, if you haven't read this, it's basically like May said, it's a letter to a sister. And at first it's just like my boy, which I should flip through and read what his name is. I can't remember what his name is. Ben?
Jonah.
I don't know where I got Ben from. Jonah is home from, it's summer break, I believe, and is home from college. And the letter already starts off like, hey, you might not be happy about this, and you might not, I don't know what you're going to do with this letter. And I don't know what you want to do with this. And I'm sorry I'm dumping this all on you. And so it kind of opens up in just this we were hanging out and Jonah's such a great guy and all this stuff. And then there's girls that are missing and then it slowly builds into this oh, I wonder why they're missing and a certain time, and people start thinking serial killer and then it goes from there.
don't forget to mention the ages of those girls.
Oh yes, all young.
No, we're not talking. When you say young, we mean 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, just after being a toddler, they're just.
They are the same age as my nephew.
Yeah. And what I love how she sets up it's a small town, and so you get a lot of other you get this perspective of the town is empty now, no one is out. The playground has such a great image of playgrounds are empty, and she's it's just so scary. And then you get the small town view and of everybody thinking it's somebody else, which again, I love this. The radio and the news are politely suggesting to talk to your neighbors and find out where they've been and all this stuff. And so it's a great, what Paula's doing of looking at a serial killer case at the beginning and how that kind of can be, how that affects everything. So it's that worldview, and then she pulls it into very tight view of this family. I think it's just an excellent way to pull you in and keep you in it. But I love she hints at, and it doesn't come into play to the very end, but she hints at that something happened. The sister is a great protector. It's the older sister, right? So it's the younger sister writing this letter. And the older sister
writing this letter to the older sister.
Oh, yeah. And so the younger sister is it's a passing paragraph of you always stood up for me to mom. You always took those bruises and all that stuff. It's just a one-off.
No, not even bruises. The iron.
Do they say at the beginning? I couldn't remember if that was at the beginning.
She says they didn't see the indentations.
Okay, yeah.
Of the iron, and I'm like, oh God.
So she just very small, tightly packs this little hint in that you're oh, it's just a nice. Obviously, it's not a nice thing, but it's a nice little backstory to these two characters, never realizing that it's coming back.
Exactly, and it just said in passing, and just it's like they were just reminiscing about that summer back in '93.
Yeah.
And it's just you mean the one where mom got us gave us indentations on our skin with an iron? Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, I love that, and I love that we get this view of them again with the son going to do basically do the line and check the woods and check the fields for this new missing girl, and they can't. It's obvious that they're not gonna find her alive. And then they don't. They find her in the river and
dismembered,
and all of this stuff.
Her foot's still in her shoe.
Yeah.
Oh God, that scene of the possum carrying the shoe with the foot still inside.
Yep.
So yeah,
Again, also just put in passing, like it was
Yeah.
like just a normal thing that happens in this town, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Which I like. Exactly. I think it's so awesome what Paula was doing with this letter because it reads like a letter. You know, she's trying to get to the point that she wants to get, but she wants to build it up to it. And so it is kind of like, okay, I got the really important thing I want to talk about, but then like I still need to tell you like there was a foot in a shoe and there was a possum and there's pictures of missing girls and like I took a different route because I didn't want to see this anymore. And like so she did it like it feels very real. And then like you said, we get to baby teeth and we get to bloody panties and it like as I was reading it, I like obviously finding those things are big clues, but it's interesting now knowing the end of it and knowing the kind of behind the scene of it where you're like, man, that's like she instantly knew what it was and knew what to do about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she went into action immediately.
And she went into like I kept again now knowing, but at the time you're in those shoes, you're like, is that like the first choice is to go get dental supplies? And I know why she got dental supplies, but like you wouldn't question or call the authorities or whatever like that. Her first, and now knowing why that was her first response, but at the time you're like, that is like a stark response.
Do you know what? Maybe it's because I've watched so many like serial killer things and stuff like that. Or maybe because I'm probably just messed up in the head. I would probably do the same as her. not gonna lie. I probably would not. I would probably just maybe just let someone I would 100% trust know about this. Like, hey, if I don't show up after this, like, you know what to do.
Yeah.
But not me. I wouldn't probably do it. I would because I'm petty as fuck. I like revenges. I'd probably do that.
And it is.
So when she did this, my brain was like, yeah, that makes sense. I would do
that. I mean, it was well warranted. I probably would have done it too, but it's just a fascinating instant response of this.
It is because of course the first thing you should do is notify the police.
Yeah, I feel like we got the person who did this.
Yeah, or just like or just drop it off,
Yeah.
One detail I love about this too is like when she's kind of cleaning her son's room and she finds the box. As soon as the first tarp comes out,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But like, then the one detail I find very interesting is like when she finds the milk teeth and just kind of rolls them around in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just a nice detail that also kind of is like, I think an old person would be like, what the fuck? And just like put them down. But she like pours them in her hand and kind of rolls them around a little bit.
I was trying to remember, and I guess I could flip through it, but like, did we know she was a dentist before?
Yes, we did. Yeah,
we did. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so all right, you're right. Now I remember that because that's what everyone was talking about. And so she had him change the TV. Okay, now I remember. But yeah, I did love, and that's such like a thing. Like I love that whole scene of like, well, I found a box and it was a Nike box, but like I know what shoes he likes, and
they're not Nike, they're Adidas.
Yeah,
they're all daydream but sex, baby.
Yep.
So yeah, like, and then when we get to the end is just great, and again, I love that.
I was on the edge of my seat, the same as her.
Yeah.
When he got back home, I was like almost holding my breath, the same as her. I was like, shit, this better work.
Yeah.
And what I loved is how she threw in again, just Paula threw in just, it was like one line of, I threw on the smile like I used to throw on.
Yeah.
And like, as you get to the end, you realize what that means, but that's so like, it tells you so much in that moment where she's like, she knows, and she's used to faking this, like, to not let somebody else know, and you're like, oh man, something is gonna happen.
That's okay. Now I want to discuss this a little bit, because she's always been so good at faking this, like faking being this normal person. What I'm thinking, the reason why she, changes the routes, changes the channel, is because she's afraid that she will revert back to what she was.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because she feels like if she hears more of this, like more descriptions of what happened to this girl, that her own beast will erupt again.
Yes, that is a great point, because I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I couldn't remember if it I like that. I think that's a good one.
But then we see, like, in the end, that she just like, fuck it, I'm embracing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that, and like, I also like, was it I'm gonna turn back into the beast, or was it reminding her of what she did? Like, it could, like, it, either way, it's still, that's such like a great call out.
It is. I love the fact, because it is true, because I think this was a quote that I heard somewhere, like, you can always turn a good person into a bad one.
Yeah.
And in this case, like, Paula is kind of rephrasing it, is in the fact that there are beasts in all of us, and I agree with that. But you can always nurture it. It depends on what happens in your environment, and in her environment, that's what happened with her mom.
Yes.
And so when she was finished with that, she kind of wanted to run away from it. But then this is what happens. And sometimes it just grows within you, and it passes on to another person.
And sometimes you can keep the beast at bay for only so long.
Yeah, exactly.
For listeners, we'll get into spoiler talk now a little bit, but it's been out for a while. Definitely worth picking up. You should get this, and like, the story itself is for sale on Amazon, but you should get the collection.
Yes,
the collection is great. As I said before, it's
I think
my favorite short story collection last year.
I think actually the collection right now, well, it might not be when we like post the show, but it's on sale this weekend, I think.
99 cents. So
yeah,
definitely worth getting.
Yeah.
That, like, to go into that, it's so interesting that we kind of find out that it was the sister and her that killed their mother, correct?
Yes.
Like, so they kind of did it both.
Yeah. But like, the younger sister did basically the finishing blow. Yeah.
And she believes, the narrator, the one writing the story, is that this is a thing inside them. And that's the whole point of the letter, is like, watch out for your daughter.
Yes.
Because my son did all of this.
Yeah.
Which, like, is interesting if you kind of like look. It's interesting that she's taking it, the character.
You could probably think of it as like generational trauma.
Yeah.
That is passed on
from one.
Yes.
But it, like, and that's what I'm wondering, is because it's not like, unless there's more to this story that we don't know, it's not like the sisters, it's not like they were serial killing. They were basically kind of protecting themselves and getting themselves out of a bad situation. So it's like, and I get that. So like, that guilt is regardless of what the mom did, you killed somebody, that's going to sit in you. And so seeing your son do that, it can definitely trigger. But it is interesting that she was thinking like, oh, unless she's murdered other people and we don't know about it.
Might be
that
like,
she
you can definitely read into it if you like look closer.
Yeah. I feel it could kind of go either way, honestly. Like,
And I guess what she did, what she
Yeah.
did to her own son, is definitely a sign of maybe
And
somebody.
like she kind of knew what she was doing when she did that to her
Yeah.
own son.
Yeah.
And that like whole scene, I mean, like she had the plan. She doped him
Yeah.
while they're eating dinner, and then just strap him down and do what she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not crossing unfamiliar territory there.
Yeah, because she didn't just like slice his throat or poison him.
No,
so he
exactly.
died.
Which she could have done.
She could have, and instead she's like, "I'm gonna really hurt you."
I mean,
one scene.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
go on.
cut you off, Phil.
No, go on.
I was gonna say one scene I really liked was just before that when they were eating dinner, and she mentions like what she found.
Yeah.
And like it's just like his face lit up.
Yeah.
And he was like, "It's so much fun, Mom."
Well, that took some time to get out of him.
It did.
Yeah.
Once it got there, it was just like, bam.
Yeah.
And like just that, but it's just a one little thing. Was just that face lit up was just like a really good detail to add to it.
It really was. It just it hammered down everything, and it was such a punch in the gut.
Yeah.
It's not just for us, the reader, but also for the narrator. Because then it was like complete confirmation, like that. I was like, "Yep, I passed it on to you. You're fucked."
Yeah.
And like I didn't expect just all of that. She like broke 2 broom handles on his knees. Oh no, she broke one broom handle. The other one had stuff she sharpened, right? And she was like, "This is going in you." She didn't say where. She said it's going in you, and then I'm gonna pull some teeth.
Judging that she's a dentist, I'm pretty sure it went through the trachea.
Yeah.
Oh, you think so? I thought it was gonna go right up the ass.
No, he was sitting. How the fuck would you position that?
Asses, dude.
Well, just the description of all the stuff, because of what she said. Because she said
she's not the mask.
But what she said was, she was like, "I'm gonna pull these teeth out of you. I'm gonna stick this in you, and if you're still alive, you can do what you want to me. I'm gonna unhook this, and I won't cry or complain." So I assumed that she was sticking that broom somewhere where he could possibly still be alive. Now he wasn't, but that's why I thought ask, because I was like, well, maybe he could survive.
I guess when you see it like that, that would make sense. But at the same time, then she would have to unstrap him because he was sitting in an old-fashioned dental chair.
Maybe the way he was in that chair, she could get it in there.
Don't make me
she cut a hole in the chair
how
and
she
stuck
did that, please.
Oh, we'll have to ask Paula for clarification.
I'm just seeing a mix of the mask and her, and just like, guys, don't give me that. Please don't.
I'll send Paula a message right now. Where did you stick the broom?
Just because, because where else would you put it that he might possibly still be alive? If you put it, because I thought maybe down his throat, but I'm like, he's not going to survive with that down his throat.
Yeah.
And maybe, I guess, like, just stab it in him, but I don't.
Yeah, I would think maybe ram it in the gut. I don't know.
He's strapped to an old dental chair, so it's not going up the butt. Which, like, this is why we say you like poop a lot, Matt.
I'm trying to think. I want to see the description because it's just like, oh my god! And then he reveals, for the listeners, that he did it during his winter break and his spring break, and it's so much fun, and so that's where all this kind of like torture came in. Yeah, it was all right. Bone Road. I'm gonna take out. She undressed him, so there is that. There's my proof.
All right, Matt, you're getting your thing. He rammed it up his ass. Are you happy now?
I am happy.
Okay, we get it.
Here we go. I see only the smeared black gash of his mouth, the rivulets of filth and blood running down his bare legs. I see only the monster, stilled.
All right, Matt. Fine. He got a fucking broom handle stuck up his ass.
Oh my God, I'm vindicated. This day can end.
That feels so justified right now.
Oh my God. But it's that whole. But what I loved, regardless of that part, in everything I'm talking about, is this whole like bait and switch. You're like, oh man, mother seeking revenge and knowing her child's a monster, and then yeah, you get to the end and she's like, this is what we did to our mom. Watch your daughter; she might do the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like damn.
Yeah,
and that like is what really like smashes it, that this family and everything like that. So anyway, so good. I'm glad you picked this story.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
This story too. It's a really good story, and I'm also happy that you feel vindicated.
I do. I'm gonna stand a little taller today.
I will say next weekend we will not be having an episode.
Yeah.
Because everyone's gonna be busy. But when we come back, we're gonna be discussing reality but fun with Madeline Swan.
Yes.
Oh, yay!
So that'll be a really fun episode.
That will be.
But Matt, where can listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Brandenburg DM. I also have a website, mattbrandenburg.com. And my book, And Out Come the Toys, is from Unnerving Books. So you can go there and get it wherever you need to get it.
And Villame, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter at VitlemeS, and I'm also on Instagram at Fangs and Light. And I also have my own website, vitlememistauthor.com.
Perfect. And you can follow me on Twitter with at Into Staring. I'm also on Facebook and Blue Sky under Richard Gerlach. And this is Richard Gerlach saying, keep staring.